Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to Bet Online today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here.
Who that say they gonna beat them say? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them say? Who that? Who that? Who that say they gonna beat them say? Who that?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, man, what's popping, man? Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Fam, what's popping? How y'all doing? Hey, fam, appreciate y'all for being in the live. I know it's a surprise stream on this Thursday night stream. Big ups to the fam. It's a bye week, of course. And the Saints are kind of chilling. We've been putting in a lot of work lately. So, yeah, I had to kind of chill. Although I've been kind of hitting it up with the Pelican stuff, the LSU stuff has been going, as well as the Tigers, man. What's going on with our people, man? We got some bad news LSU-wise. The Tigers lost Bryce Underwood, for my 9 Tiger people out there, is the number 1 recruited quarterback in the 2025 class, who was basically gave an it was a verbal agreement, of course, to be committed to LSU. Michigan flipped them earlier today. He flipped to Michigan, which is where he's from. And that's a gut punch for the 2025 season for the LSU Tigers. A lot of top recruits were really counting on that. Brian Kelly, got up there with the presser, but the news broke after LSU head coach Brian Kelly left the podium. He knew it all the time. I could tell he knew something was going on because his face and his vibe was different. And there are definitely rumors circulating around him possibly getting fired if he had lost that commitment. So we'll see what happens with that in terms of LSU news. But we kind of dropped some of that scoop on Tough Tiger Talk platform. So shout out to you fans. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Much love, brother Brian's Flat Power Guy. Thank you, sir, for being a member for 11 months.
Thank you. You're fuck too kind.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Big ups to all of the family members up in this thing, man. Yeah, Jermaine said I heard that Q. They gave more money. Yeah, He turned what they gave him down initially, but ultimately he decided to go. And I'm not mad at the young man. It's a competitive vibe of competitive energy in college football, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna change that. I promise y'all that they're gonna change that. They always do. This is kind of the ongoing of it. But big ups to y'all. Appreciate y'all being in the stream, man. Listen, man. The Saints at the bye week. There's a poll question for the family members up in this thing. We appreciate y'all chiming in. For the family members, there's a poll question. What grade would you give the Saints overall at the bye? Overall, A, B, C, D, or lower right now. 42% of the pollers are saying they're giving the Saints a B vibe right now. That's not bad. But we'll see if that energy is maintained as more people get to voting. So much love to y'all. Appreciate y'all. See you, Desi. What's happening, Desi? Shout out to the Queen. All right, big ups to my dog, OG Jerry. Brother Brian, how you doing, sir? Much love. Appreciate you for being in here. Son of God, much love. Salute to you, my friend. Appreciate you. Young City Night Ward. Big ups to you. All right, Muse. What's popping, Muse? Shout out to the Queens. All right, yeah. What's up, Toy? Shout out to Toy as well, man. Much love to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. And basically, fam, we're going to go over this, and this is going to be kind of a show in which we kind of take the time to kind of look at all of the stuff that happened so far in the Saints season. And really, to be honest with you, fam, it has been a very interesting season, to say the least, about the New Orleans Saints, hasn't it? Up until this point, we've seen the firing of Dennis Allen after 3 really tumultuous seasons of funk and stank and backstabbing nature. They finally got him out of it, but not because it was commonsensical. It was because of the pressure of the support base and also the players speaking up for a change as well, wanting him out of here. You know, so he got fired. There was also the trading of Marshawn Lattimore. You know, we love that guy. He's traded to the Washington team. So seeing him be traded at the deadline after all of the years that we've had him here, he's gone. So Marshawn's gone. Dennis Allen's fired. You see a new coach step up. Coach Rizzi takes over the team. Team is 2-0 under Coach Rizzi. Just because he's energetic and a guy that just is ultimately uber passionate. So we see that happening as well. So we've seen a lot of stuff shake and bake, to be honest with you, fam. A lot of stuff. So that was kind of terrible. Hold on, family. It had the 7-game losing streak that ultimately turned into something funky. It was it was problematic, to be honest with you, what we were seeing, fam. Very problematic. But at the end of the day, it was it's very interesting come to think about it. And that's before we got into any of the other stuff. And there's been a lot of positives, to be honest with you. The positive of finding some players while, you know, we kind of struggling to kind of gain ground. We ultimately was able to acquire MVS, who's been a big playmaker. And possibly, if the Saints are smart enough, those are 3 players that I'm going to talk about as a part of all of the other stories that the Saints should ultimately kind of think about keeping around. MVS is a guy that could really form a very good trio of wide receivers. If you think about it, he was the guy the Saints should have went after at the start of free agency. MVS was the guy. Imagine him. He's 6'4", got that good speed that y'all seen take the roofs off the tops off the defense. Imagine him, Chris Olave, and Rashid Shaheed playing at the same time with Elvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. Could you imagine that going on? So, I mean, that is a plus that we've seen him. We also seen Trevor Penning, him step up and have a solid season as well. There was a lot of question marks around Penning, and he's had a pretty solid year after having 6 games and 3 prior to this season. And not knowing what we have there, but to see him and Tolly there, the future is bright as far as the tackle position is concerned. So there's that. There's also Chase Young, who's stepping up, doing some positive stuff. We've seen Will Harris, another guy who was everything and then some. A very under the radar signing the Saints had when they picked up Will Harris. Will Harris has been awesome to the Saints defense. He was everything the garbage time Marcus May was supposed to be. He came here on a cheap deal. The Saints signed him, was underneath the radar. Will Harris worked his ass off, got the starting job, stepped in there from day one, was making plays, continued to make plays. He's been super solid for the Saints there. So like I said, it's quite a few things, the positives that I'm looking at overall about some of the players that we picked up on, and see that they can kind of move and maybe they can be added into something as we move into the future. So anyway, as we keep it going, fam, let's kind of move in that direction, because this is an article. Let me just start with this is an article that Bob, shout out to Bob and Brother Kyle in the Saints News Network. This was an article that he wrote in early November, but it basically talked about midseason grades for the Saints. Now, if you kind of what's up, Antoinette? Shout out to Antoinette, man. Good to see her in the chat. Big ups to you. Brother Pete, I see you, man. Appreciate you as well. Much love. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream. What's up, Brother Damien? How you doing, sir? KD was popping, fam. Appreciate you as well. Yeah, and this was really the interesting thing about it with Bob, and he dropped this article, but it just makes mention in grading out the individual units. Now, we don't have to take the information that Bob has, but the premise is there. And so far as you talk about the information in grading the offenses, the defense, and the special teams, we talk about the offense, and you got to include everything. You can't fractionalize it or localize it to just the 2 early wins in weeks 1 and weeks 2, and then the 2 past weeks wins. The season encompasses all at this point, which means all of the funky losses that we acquired as well has to be stated as well with the wins, right? Obviously. So what have we learned thus far about our New Orleans Saints team? That's a good question. What have we learned about this team thus far? But see some of the grades that Bob gave early on around November the 9th. Now, things might have changed. As you can see right here, his midseason grade, he gave the Saints offense a D. And his reason for that was he used the Pro Football Focus stuff and ranking their offense 21st. It's showing the total is 17th, 18th with the pass, 13th against the rush. Then it shows the injuries of the players and all this kind of stuff. And like I said, when you start talking injuries, and this is a conversation that we had when we were talking about the Pelican stuff, because as you guys know, the Pelicans stuff, they stink right now. The Pelicans are, they're gobbled up with issues and injuries and all this kind of stuff. And we had the broadcast the other night. We kind of went into it, and we know that injuries are going to happen to you. We don't know in what pace insofar as how, frequent these things will trouble you, but we do realize and do know that injuries do happen. So you have to, as an organization, be as prepared as you possibly can, which means you cover as many bases as you can with your resources. Like a lot of times, teams who really work the practice squad, they utilize it as an extra wing of the team or an extended portion of the roster, where you will take players that you have access to that are practicing in the second and third teams during the year, and then you would stash them there, still have them to practice, separately from your starters, of course, but you would have them acclimated to whatever offense or defense or special team system that you're implementing, and you would just simply pull from that area and pull to your team so that you can kind of curb as much as the learning process as you possibly can. That's the philosophy of having a practice squad and using it at a maximum effect, if you get what I'm saying. Now, are the Saints doing that? Because we've seen teams in the NFL really do that well. At sometimes a couple years ago, not so much this year, but a couple years ago, Philadelphia was doing it really well. They were stashing guys there, and they were able to take these guys when injuries hit, and they were able to move them strategically onto the roster and be able to utilize them in a way where, they needed to kind of keep things going. And then there was a times when I'm seeing other teams have issues with their interior defensive line. They were going to free agency, sign guys, bring guys in. When guys get hurt, it was a conveyor effect, If a guy gets hurt, he's out, the next guy is in, because we got to keep winning. The season don't stop with one injury. You got to still keep going. They're not going to cancel the games because you got guys hurt. You got to find a way to win. And like we was talking about with the Pelicans, he's like, well, how do you do that when 7 or 8, maybe almost 10 people or 9 people, the top 9 players on your team is hurt? That sucks. But at the end of the day, the NFL is not going to cancel your season. You still have to go out there and steal as many wins as you can until your big dogs get back. Because you don't want to have a situation set where you end up putting those guys in the hole where they would have to then fight back. You get what I'm saying? They would have to fight, with injured players. You have to get these injured players who sometimes be restricted to what they can do. And then also remember, you have to be, I ain't gonna say delicate with them, but you have to be present to understand that this player coming back from injury, and you have to be able to acclimate them as cautiously as you can into your system, or risk this player getting hurt again. And his issue end up kicking him out again. What could be, we heard this situation happen with McCoy. McCoy had a groin injury. Ultimately, you guys figured out what happened with him when he hurt his groin in the last game and he had to sit out. So, like I said, you always have to make sure that you have good depth there to be able to absorb as much as you possibly can, because the season not going to stop. If a guy gets hurt, that's a big part of your team. You got to still figure a way to win. And let me tell you something, people don't want to hear that. I'm just going to keep it real, especially if you're talking Pelicans. They don't want to hear the injury stuff. I'm sorry. We don't need it, because it's a patience factor. It's a line. It's a cutoff line. It's the same thing with the Saints here. The same thing here with the Saints. If the Saints fail to make the playoffs, we don't hear all this other stuff. You still got to make changes. We don't want to hear all this, because really the people are vindicated, because they've been saying since last year this guy should have been fired, and you took too long to do it. Now your team is in a hole. They got to fight back to get back to it. But at the end of the day, vision is needed, and this team lacks vision. It had to be threatened into firing the guy. That's not good. And then if you are that blind to what's going on, then you're blind to a lot of shit going on. Trust me, you are. Because you believing in guys that you have no BS believing in. But this is the thing that we deal with here. That's why we stay 10 toes down on what we believe in, man. Because these people, a lot at the top, a lot of these people don't know what they're doing, man. And that's evidence. I told people, I said, this guy don't know what he's doing. This guy, I know what I'm doing. No, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. That's why you don't need that position. But do the person that own the team know that guy don't know what the hell he's doing? That he operating a fraud. I told y'all that. That he ain't no real general manager. What real general manager sit on his ass while the team burning? He's sitting up in the room. He don't go and talk to nobody. He believe this dumbass coach. He don't talk to nobody. And his boss got to come down and do his job for him and fire this effing guy and put him in the street. If he had his way, that asshole would still be here on top of the team. We would still be going through this stuff. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that ain't the end of it, because we got this possum out of here. It's still stuff that needs to be done to turn around what was done since the possum was here. And all that has to be fixed, especially the guy that hired him. That cannot be lost in the message. That cannot be lost, because there would not be this stuff if it wasn't for Mickey Loomis and Dennis Lauscher, blindness, laziness, and stupidity. They don't know what they're doing. These are two clowns that have jobs that don't know what they're doing. That other Lauscher dude is even clueless than Loomis. Only a driven idiot would believe in Mickey Loomis' football acumen after watching what happened. Come on, man. This Lauscher hey, listen, don't y'all dare. Don't y'all freaking dare let Lauscher make it. When you talk about firing Loomis, you put Lauscher's ass in there with him. When you talk about demoting Loomis, you make sure you put Lauscher there. It is Lauscher and Loomis together. Lauscher's the team president. He's supposed to be Loomis's boss. Don't let that dude make it. You put his ass in that fire too, along with Mickey Loomis as well. That's the God's honest truth. All right. So anyway, Going to the offense so far, we talk about the offense. This is a mid season grades that Bob did early in November that he kind of hashed out with some of this stuff. He talked about the injuries and all this kind of stuff. So this bit of this is outdated. So we're not really focusing on the information that he's showing. We're just going to use the outline, which is what grade would you give the Saints offense at this point? The Saints offense at this point has kind of turned around a bit. It struggled in the first win. It had an explosive, what was it, the third quarter, I think it was, where the second quarter, where they got off of it. They did well there. But outside of that, that other situation that occurred with the offense has been up and down, right? We strike and then we go cold. We strike, we go cold. And we still not quite there. So, we got to keep improving. That's the bottom line. We gotta as an offense, we got to keep improving. And I think this last game we went Taysom crazy. Clint Kubiak went Taysom crazy. At first, I thought it was Alvin Kamara because Kamara is always option one. He's the best offensive player you got. Not that game. Taysom, he went all over, and that's what Clint Kubiak does. He fed Taysom. He put Taysom. He made him throw the quarterback. I mean, to be the quarterback. He made him be the running back. He made him be the wide receiver. He made him be the tight end. He even played on special teams. He returned the ball. He was out there doing a little blocking on special teams. So he was doing a lot of stuff for Taysom Hill. And I was like, thank God we were facing a bye week with that guy doing it, because this Clint Kubiak dude has his his imagination, right, in encompassing the entire offense is very limited. He's lazy with his play calling. He really is. And and I keep saying it over and over again, you got to get other guys involved. You just can't over rely on one guy. This is a long effing season, man. We still got a bunch of games left to go. You're going to have to spread that around to these different cats. Everybody got to get involved. Everybody got to get involved. You can't just go heavy on one guy. And this dude does this. This is my thing, right? I'm saying, offensively speaking, what makes your offense dangerous is your ability to get other guys involved. Right now, we're at a bye week. Right now, we need to be finding other talent from a wide receiver standpoint to help this team out. We need to find somebody. I like Kevin Austin Jr., but you still need some more help. If you can find somebody else, let's find somebody else. If we can get Cedric Wilson Jr. off the goddamn team, it would not hurt my feelings if we can find some more talent while we got this bye week right now. I'm just saying. Go talk to somebody, bring some guys in. Just don't rely on what you got. If you're about winning and you're about climbing, you're about doing something, because we're far from where we need to be offensively speaking. We still disjointed. We still not doing everything we're supposed to do. We're improving, but at the same time, we have to be able to spread the ball around. We have to be able to get other guys involved. And if some of these goddamn guys we got are not there, we need to get them off the team, and we need to keep this thing moving. You see what I'm saying? We're on a 2-game winning streak. We're doing some good stuff, but we got some tough teams coming up. They're in a better straits than us. You look at the Rams matchup coming up. Next week, we got the Rams coming in. They've been playing better ball. After that, you got the Commanders with Jalen running around out there doing this thing. You got who's behind that? You got Jordan Love and the Packers. You got the Raiders and all this kind of stuff. But you do have some good young teams that you're going to have to compete against. And you have to have the one game at approach thing. So a lot of this has to change. Just watching it over part of the bye week recap or looking at the season recap at this point, that's what I see when we talk about offense. I can see why Bob gives him a grade. Alvin Kamara is phenomenal. He's going to have the best year. I think he gets 1,000 yards rushing. That's something he never did, by the way. He came close in the C19 year, but he gets it. I think he gets it this year. He's healthy. He's running the ball. In the game last week, he was averaging over 5 yards a carry. He was doing really good until they shifted away from him and went to Taysom Hill. But the thing is also, like I said, man, as an offense, we have to be able to get downfield. We got to keep throwing the ball. We get disjointed and stop at points. And we have to get into the play action. Like if you look at the numbers around Derek Carr, that's why I don't even argue about no Derek Carr stats. The only stat that mean anything to me is the fact that if you put him in play action, I think he's either the second or third best quarterback in the NFL when you're talking play action stats. And I've been saying that I ain't even know the stats until somebody, I think it was one of the family members, sent me the stats or emailed it to me or sent me an article about the stuff. I didn't even know about what the stats was, didn't care about what the stats was. All I was looking at is what I seen with these here. What I seen with these here is that, and I knew from doing film work that if you put that man in play action, he'll tear you up. That's all I know. All this other stuff you try to get him to do, like the pre-scripted plays where he doesn't read anything. He just turns and finds Taysom Hill and fires the ball to him. I can see that. I can see a lot of these plays are just pre-scripted plays where he just turn and fire and Taysom and throw the ball to him. I've seen that. It's a play when it's the same thing for Alvin Kamara, or just find Kamara and throw the ball to him. That's plays that Kubiak has him doing. But at the end of the day, if you put him in the play action, he'll kill you, man. That's what you were seeing early on in weeks 1 and 2. You've seen a little of it over the last couple of games, and that's my focus. Is not trying to turn him into no accurate passer because it's too late in the game for that. He's an 11-year veteran. Whatever bad habits he got, he's not losing them. That's something that you do for Spencer Rattler or Jake Hayner. Try to get them this, that, and the third. All that old bad habit stuff, man, listen, when he lost all that time, he went right back to them bad habits of staring people down. So at the end of the day, all I want to do is get Carr into the play action. That's what my focal point is. Getting him into the play action so that he can live, because he's a different quarterback when you get him in the play action. It's like he in an oxygen tent, breathing all the rich oxygen you could possibly get. His eyes bucking and he feeling good. Get him in the play action. That's what it comes down to. So right now, my grade in terms of the offensive, what I've seen over the last, the games here, if I had to give him a grade, I probably would give him like a C. I got to give him a C, maybe even a C plus, because I can appreciate Alvin Kamara. What he's been doing. He's been doing phenomenal. He's been trying to run the ball against when we were kind of struggling offensive line wise, but he's still been a very consistent player for us. When Taysom is available, I can't even say that because the game before the game, like before he went Taysom heavy, Taysom wasn't very involved in that previous match, the Atlanta game, right? He wasn't, people asking where he was at when the offense died off. So he just says, hey, I'm going to just go all Taysom in. No, it's a balance. It's a balance here. It's a balance. But anyway, probably give him a C plus on that regard, because in this it's a lot of room to improve. Like we still needed that extra with that other wide receiver position. We'll see what's going on with Chris Olave in a couple of weeks when he comes, when it gets to the point where he's eligible to come back from the IR. Will the Saints bring him back when they evaluate him if he's good to go after having all those concussions, or will they simply just put him on IR or leave him on there for the rest of the season? That's yet to be determined. That's why I was promoting for the Saints to see if they can go and find other wide receivers that can help just in case. I hope you're not waiting on that, because once again, these things take vision, man. They really do. They take vision. All right. Anyway, let's go defensive, and he gave him F here. But the thing about the defense, just to be honest about the Saints defense here, fam, the Saints defense to me, man, has been a pretty decent unit, right, in terms of the secondary at times. Now, the statistics early on, they were playing well, then they just fell off a cliff. Now, Joe Woods has been running the defense. I've seen the defense play with a lot more energy and intensity, especially in the last game. Toward the back end, you're seeing the way, and even in the Atlanta game, toward the back end of the Atlanta game, y'all remember the second game where you're seeing pressure coming. And even in the last game against the Cleveland Browns, the Browns offensive line was actually doing a pretty good job and holding down and keeping the Saints from getting around Jameis. And Jameis was able to stand tall in the pocket and deliver some good strikes. Jameis was ripping that ball out there, right? And then ultimately the Saints defense started to get to him. And you could see that they were just getting tired and they were just grinding it out. And then ultimately, you see what, them getting there and just start making plays and start wearing down on that Cleveland Browns team. Of course, DeWine Jones, their left tackle, got rolled up on and he had to get carted off. So that was a part of it too. They were able to generate pressure and get to him. But overall, the overall defense, what we've seen from the Saints, It's a lot of turnover because, like I said, we mentioned the Marshawn Lattimore trade that sent him to Washington for draft picks. You've seen and Paulson Adebo getting hurt early in the year. That's another thing that Paulson's done for the year. Your secondary basically becomes something else. So Alante Taylor, who was a nickelback, becomes CB1. Kool-Aid McKinstry, who was your second round draft pick, becomes CB2. And then you gain Ugo Amadi, who several weeks ago was on the practice squad. He's there. You get Will Harris back, who's now at safety next to Tyrann Mathieu, and they mix in Jordan Howard in there. And you see the secondary starting to play better with those players. We've seen injuries to Pete Werner. We've seen injuries to Willie Gay. We've seen injuries to Demario Davis. We've seen Anthony Orji make his presence felt. And then, of course, we understand and know that the Saints defense, interiorly speaking, did a better job against Cleveland to kind of stop Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford from getting loose and handling their business. So that was a positive. And we've seen the Saints need to kind of dial up that pressure a bit, but they understood and knew that they couldn't necessarily always do that because those front four guys are being counted on getting pressure, and everybody else got to drop into coverage and make plays. So that needs to continue to be worked on too. And I asked the family members, at what point does Brian Bresee, in your opinion, at what point does Brian Bresee move from being a reserve defensive interior man to being a starter? At what point? He's in his second year already. At what point? Now, there's a question about his run blocking ability, but he's a first-round draft pick. He has to get out there and he has to play. You mean to tell me that Shepard is doing that well of a job to keep him as a reserve guy? At what point does Bresee get an opportunity to become a starter? That's my question. At what point? He's a first-round draft pick. And might I add, he's a better defensive lineman than several of the defensive draft picks we had in recent memory. Two of which are, I don't even know if Davenport is even still in the league. Peyton Turner's starting to look better. He really is as a reserve defensive lineman, but the Saints turned down that final year. So when his time is up, guess what? He hits the street for greener pastures. So that's another first-round draft pick, defensive lineman, that'll be headed up out of here. So Brian Bresee showed a lot of praise at a lot of potential. Not only just potential, but a lot of the potential realized to a great deal. He's incredibly disruptive. He's still got a lot of stuff to do, but he's still a first-round draft pick. You got to eventually move him in that role. At what point do we do that? At what point? But yeah, the defense has changed, especially in the secondary with the trading of Lattimore, the injury to Paulson Adebo, who's on the final year of his contract. Alante Taylor, the CB1. You see Kool-Aid step up. You got the new nickel. You got Harris in there. So like I said, the Joe Woods has quite the ordeal to try to get everybody together and improve upon it. So going into the rest of the season, the Saints definitely have to do something about adding more pressure to the quarterback, because it's been a year where the Saints don't get home enough. They don't get home enough, not nearly in a rate to affect the quarterback. Far too often I've seen opposing quarterbacks stand tall in the pocket and make plays. And then we finally get to them, you knock them down, you sack them, they get right back up. And it's really too late, because many times they be in a rhythm. They're in a rhythm. They're moving around, they're running around. The defensive lineman still has to work on its gap discipline. It's week after week we're seeing poor gap discipline. We've seen it happen when Jameis Winston was able to run out of there. We've seen it happen a couple of times with some of these other teams. So from a defensive standpoint, they're doing a lot of positive stuff, but that's something that still needs to be worked on. Our gap assignments, gap discipline, when you're blitzing and rushing the quarterback, not creating a hole for the quarterback to escape out of, just doing it smartly. That's Joe Woods talks about that all the time. So we'll see how they do. So, but in terms of the defense, I probably would give them the same grade I do the offense. I'll probably say like a C or C plus. Still a lot to do there. We need to be more. And plus, you look at their stats, man. Their stats are not all that. And then, of course, you talk about the special teams. Special teams, I probably give the special teams a grade, like a highest grade, which probably be like a B minus. for my special teams because Blake Grupe has done a good job. Matt Hayball has been a pleasant surprise. Matt Hayball has been kicking his ass off. I mean, punting his ass off, to be honest with you. But Matt Hayball has been a solid punter for the Saints. I got to give him credit. Hayball's doing a good job. He really is. His directional punting is getting better. He has a strong leg. And Hayball is doing a good job. These two young special teams guy, Blake Grupe and Matt Hayball, are doing a solid job. And shout out to Darren Rizzi, who worked with him, and Coach Phil Galliano, who's now the special teams coach, is doing a very good job with these guys. Now, kick returners, that's a whole nother case with Rashid Shaheed is out. Jermaine Jackson, not really there. Jermaine Jackson, don't know when to return him, when not to return him. But Pettis, how about Pettis, man? Dante Pettis was out there doing his thing. And he was actually a guy that I was intrigued by because I was able to look him up and to see that he was actually doing some very positive stuff as well. So, man, listen, hey, Pettis looked pretty good. That's another surprise. We got to keep an eye on him because a lot of people don't know about that guy. And kind of, I did some research prior to the broadcast of the game, the Cleveland game, doing the pregame, and I was like, fam, listen, this guy was a guy that has a kick return experience. Matter of fact, he had some returns early on. I think he had a record or two that he had in college as a return man, and he's pretty fast. And he's 6'1", but he has good speed. He's a pretty fast wide receiver. So the Saints picked up on the gym there when they put Jermaine Jackson in the street, and he's back on the practice squad, by the way. But Pettis could be a guy, and they were actually using him in offense because you need to have big wide receivers with speed that can get downfield. That's why they kind of set Mason Tipton down and kind of given an opportunity to Pettis to see if Pettis can get going. So he helped. He had the kick return. Had he not stepped on the line, he would have had a kick return for a punt return or a kick return? I forget, for a touchdown. So that's positive too. Anytime you can get receivers with that kind of speed to help out the stretch defenses when you got basically Carr is a gunslinging play action quarterback. You need to get wide receivers that have speed to get that's the bottom line. It's not complex, fam. It really isn't. Knowing the identity of your quarterback and playing through his strengths, that's what it's all about. It ain't so much about trying to teach him or to reinvent the wheel. I get that you're trying to speed him up because you don't want him to sit there and stare too long because he does have a habit of doing that. So you want to kind of restrict and refine the game and try to make it as simple as you possibly can, where you have designed throws right away, where he doesn't read any defense. He just turns, and when the certain plays are called, he just turns and fire them to the player. Whether it's Elvin Kamara, we've seen him do it with Elvin Kamara. We've seen him do it the last game several times on the tape with Taysom Hill. He just turns and fire to Taysom. I was like, damn, a couple of these plays, if he would actually have read the field, if they allowed him to have read the field, there were plays downfield he could have made. But I do understand it. But that's my philosophy here. It's like, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. This is an older guy that's been in the league for 11 years. He got a lot of bad habits. Let's just get him into his most comfortable place, which is the play action, and allow him to throw the damn ball downfield because he can throw that thing downfield. He is a gunslinger. That's the mentality of this guy. He's a gunslinger with a big arm. And you got to give that gunslinger wide receivers that can take the tops off the defense, that you can get downfield. And whatever he sees that taking and him running like that, he could just, boom, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, touchdown. Big runs, explosive plays that just demoralizes the defenses right away. That's what he does. That's what he did with MVS. That's what he did with Rashid Shaheed when he was doing it right in the first weeks. Two, you play to the identity of the quarterback. You got to get him into play action. You got to have guys with speed that can get down that damn field. That's what it's about. That's how you do it. But anyway, special teams got a few things. Every aspect of this team, to be honest with you, we got to improve upon, man. But overall, like the family members in here so far, they're agreeing that the B grade right now, we got a bunch of people. And for the family members that didn't have an opportunity to vote, there's a poll in the chat. Please vote on that poll and tell me what you think about this in here. What grade would you give the Saints overall at the bye? A, B, C, or D and lower? Vote Vote, my peoples. All right. Shout out to Muse, man. Appreciate Muse with the Cash App. Much love to you, Queen. Trinity Montoya. Thank you. She's such a pretty name. Let me see, did you send a message? Muse, baby? I don't see. Hold on. Make sure you sent the message here. I don't see a message. Okay. I think did you send a message? I don't see anything. It's not showing me anything. All right. Hold on. It's not showing me. I think that my phone is tripping. Let me try one more time here. Okay. All right. No, it's just sending some love. Appreciate you, Trinity. Much love. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Get fucked too kind.
All right. Appreciate you, Queen. All right. So yeah, and this is some of the things, man, we looking at right now. So anyway, let's hit this next article, man, here from Bob that he had put up here, man. This is another one we wanted to go over with you guys. Saints regaining strength. Key players could return after bye week. Saints should get some reinforcements back after their bye, but will still be without a few contributors. So let's see what Bob got here. Saints 4-17 has much needed bye week this week. The Saints went into a bye on a high note, winning the last 2 games after 7-game losing streak. When the Saints return to action, they'll face the Rams at home on Sunday, December the 1st. In doing so, the Saints also may get a few players back for the several weeks they've been missing in action. Who won't return? 3 players that definitely won't be returning by week 13 are wideouts Chris Olave, Bub Means, and running backs Kendre Miller. All are on injury reserve, but will not be eligible to return. Once a player has been placed on IR, they must remain out for at least 4 games, not weeks, before returning. Olave, dealing with consecutive concussions, was placed on injury reserve after week 9 against the Carolina Panthers and will be eligible to come back after week 14 contest at the Giants. Okay, it's the Giants matchup. Means and Miller were put on injury reserve after week 8 loss to the Chargers. Since the bye week does not count towards the IR absences, that's a good bit of information there. They'll each be eligible to return to action after the Rams game on Sunday. Olave, Miller, Means will be sidelined for at least another week or 2 and continue to be key absences. However, the Saints could still get some welcome additions back to the lineup when they suit up against the Rams. So shout out to Bob there. He also said who may return: Eric McCoy and Lucas Patrick. Starting left guard Patrick has missed the last 2 games with an ankle injury. Patrick has been out for 4 of the last 6 contests on an interior offensive line battered by injuries. McCoy returned last week in a victory over Cleveland, missing 7 straight outings and most of the week 3 loss. Yeah, I think it was the first offensive series that he got hurt on of that Eagles game. McCoy played a bit more than half the Saints' offensive snaps before leaving after re-aggravating his groin injury that caused him to miss more than 2 months. Some reports indicate that McCoy could have returned, but was held out as a precaution. The next 10 days should tell us whether that was truly the case. If McCoy and Patrick both return to action against the Rams, each will certainly be welcome and much needed additions. It will also mark the first time since the 3rd snap of week 3 that the Saints starting offensive line is fully intact. Jamal Williams. How about a Jamal Williams update? The Saints passing attack and running game have been adversely affected by the shorthanded offensive line. Kamara is having a career year, but should be more effective with an intact line in front of him. His versatility will be even more lethal with additional backfield help. Running back Jamal Williams has missed the last 3 outings with a groin injury. Williams is rugged between a tackle runner that has 32 carries for 124 yards in the score this season, averaging 4 yards per run. He hasn't been overly effective, but with both he and Kendre Miller out, it has left the New Orleans offense extremely limited, especially with their options in the backfield. No NFL team has been more negatively affected by injuries this season than the Saints. This is especially true on the offensive side. They'll still be without some key pieces against the Rams, namely Olave and fellow wide receiver Rashid Shaheed out for the year after knee surgery. Slowly but surely, the Saints are getting healthier. Already riding the momentum of 2 wins, getting another victory against the Rams and more contributors back could give New Orleans at least an outside chance in the NFC South headed into the stretch run. Shout out to my guy, Bob Rose. Much love to Bob. You know, he's a honorary member of the great Saint Think Tank. Bob's always cool, always putting in good work there. And he's right, man. Jamal Williams is interesting, but a lot of people know that probably Kendre Miller, which what happened with the whole Dennis Allen thing, which you're not supposed to put healthy players on IR. It's supposed to be a fine for that, I think it is. But you gotta. I'm just glad that stinking piece of garbage is gone. I'm sorry. The garbage that this guy did, that he was here doing, just amazing. But yeah, Kendre Miller, when he ultimately does return and comes back, I think he'll get more played than Jamal Williams. Jamal is totally lost in the Saints offense. And I don't think it's exclusively his fault, because once again, you got to know how to use these players, because people are people are oversimplified, and it says, oh, Jamal Williams Q is just garbage. And then I have to remind people that 3 years ago, Jamal Williams played for the Rams. He had 17 rushing touchdowns in a single year and over 1,000 yards. And since he's been with the Saints, I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns in 2 years or 3 years or whatever the scale is, something ridiculous. In 2 years with the Saints, he had 2? I know it's less than 3 rushing touchdowns since he's been here. So it's all about how you use the players is the point. Just like I was talking about putting Carr into the play action. If you really want to get the best out of Derek Carr, put him in the play action. It's the same thing with Jamal Williams, understanding the identity of the player, knowing what role you can have players like these guys in. Like if you have a north-south in between the tackle runner like Jamal Williams, you might want to try to get him involved in the game in the second half, like give him some runs early. But then again, you got to make sure, early on in the game. And then when the second half of the game starts, then you might want to kind of give him extra runs just to get him in the rhythm and pound the defense. Because you'll have a Jamal Williams, you'll have a Kendre Miller at your exposed, and then you have the offensive coordinator running Taysom Hill to death. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. You got to divvy out that, because each one of these runners have a key signature style that they use that is effective. Kendre Miller's running style is effective because Kendre Miller is good at making you miss on the initial tackle. If you watch the film on Kendre Miller when he's healthy, he has the innate ability. He runs powerfully. Number one, he's very nimble on his feet. He is very difficult to bring down, and he's good at making you miss at the initial tackle. He has really nasty, mean jump cuts that are pretty damn good. If you can keep him healthy, you got a force. But Jamal Williams is not a guy with all the jump cuts, but he's a powerful runner, a north-south downhill runner. And there's a role for him in the system in certain aspects of the game at certain periods of the game. Like if you got a defense out there and you got north-south power runners and guys like that, man, run them goddamn guys at them. Use your fullback if you got to. Use a little misdirection or whatever. You can put Kamara out there. You can put Taysom Hill out there, make them wide receivers, decoy the guys, create opportunities for a Jamal or a Kendre Miller. That's what they're there for. You don't have to feed them guys all the time. They could just be out on the field at the same time at different areas that you don't accustom to see them. Like you see Kamara line up a wide receiver or Taysom line up like a wide receiver. Decoy the guys, create opportunities for a Kendre or a Jamal Williams. Spread out the defense and draw it to them. Get them involved in the offense. That's your job as an offensive coordinator, not just sit down here and just put everything on Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. And just put everything on them. The hell with the rest of these guys. Hey, y'all, all you guys around here, y'all just get free money. Just sit here and watch the game. I'm going to just play through these goddamn guys. And then if something happened to them goddamn guys, we just lost. We don't know how to get in, because at the point in the time where you have all these other guys rolling around here, you get them involved in offense. They know what they're doing. They're getting a lot of reps. They're out there flowing with the offense, and you're using these guys to help everybody else. And we got a whole unit flowing. Everybody getting a touch. Everybody flowing. Everybody feeling good. I just stuff it and tunnel vision it to this guy right here. Long ass season, man. But anyway, the bottom line is, man, we're talking about like a lot of these guys getting back. And we'll see what it looks like, man, because the Saints are not what I reckon is foreign, whatever it is. They're actually, from a personnel standpoint, they're better than that. You know it and I know it. That's why it's disgust and funk going around throughout the Hugh That Nation, throwing it at Lausch and Loomis, because there's no way, shape, or form the team should only have 4 damn wins, man. It shouldn't even be the case. That's why people are upset and like, man, are you kidding me? This is bull crap. You know, when you got a team with Elvin Kamara and Taysom Hill on it, and you got the guy, and ultimately, I hope Chris Olave does return. MVS is here; he helps out, but that's a good tandem. Once you get Chris Olave back and you have MVS, and then you just got to find another guy. That's why I'm always saying, listen, we got to just keep finding people. We got to keep looking. You know, when you're a team that's going through injuries, like Bob alluded, he said how the Saints are being impacted by injuries. You got to keep looking. And sometimes you're going to come across guys that can't block. You got to put them in the street. It happens. Sometimes you're going to come against guys that can't catch the ball. Got to put them in the street. Find somebody that can't catch the ball. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes that happens because when you're in pursuit, you're looking for personnel to help you out. Some of these guys, you got to put them in the street because they can't do the job on time when you need them to. So you just got to keep it's a conveyor effect. Because ultimately, it's about winning. We got to get the right guys in here, and we got to keep this thing moving. So on the bye week, if I'm them, I'm looking at bringing some more offensive linemen. I'm not settling for the fact that they got guys coming back. You know why? Because in my mind, I recognize that just because they're back don't mean they it's a possibility in the future that they'll be gone again, because it's a physical game. We've seen that happen with players on this team several times over. So let's not delude ourselves into thinking just because we're getting some of these guys back that they can't get hurt again. We've seen it all the time. So you got to, as a Saints organization, you got to be constantly looking to improve the depth of your team, man. That's how it goes. Because we got caught out there with the backup center thing early in the year. That's where we struggled until they got Connor McGovern from the Jets, and then put Connor McGovern on the street to keep Shane Lemieux, whatever his name is. This guy here is not better than McGovern. But you see what I'm saying? You gotta, it's a constant cycle of flow of people in and out of the building. That requires an active general manager. It's not some guy with his door closed that don't know the temperature of the team. That guy gotta keep flowing, and this guy's not active enough. He's not active enough. He just wants to sit there and sit with, man, you got to constantly be moving if you're trying to salvage the season, because we're still in the hole. If you're trying to salvage the season, you got to constantly have personnel moving in and out of this building. And in that bye week, them players resting. But if I'm the coach and I'm the general manager, I'm not resting. I'm in there trying to find people, trying out people. Hey, man, let's try this guy. We need to try this. We need to get this together. We need to do this here. You see what I'm saying? Because you're still not out of it yet. I like the 2 games we won, but you're 4-7. We still not out of the woods yet. There's a lot of football that needs to be played, and there is no room for error anymore. There's zero room for error for us, right? All right, so anyway, let's go on to grading of our rookies here. Let's take a look at this one. Shout out to the Saints Wire, man. He did this one. Rookie report card grading the Saints 2024 draft class after week 11. I like this article. Big weekend for the young guys. For the Saints, took care of business against the Browns, marking the 2nd straight win under Coach Rizzi. A couple of this year's draft picks has experienced some standout performances in the week's game, including the one against a 5-time All-Pro, which was very good. Now, despite the fact that Myles Garrett had some type of foot ailment, right, that people was telling me about, that's still a feat, and I'm going to give it to Taufefuaga. That man, Myles Garrett, did not record a stat, not a pressure, not nothing. It was almost like he wasn't there, because he wasn't. Tali removed him from reality. And they could tell me about a foot and all that. All I know, the man got 7 sacks on the year, and that's still Myles Garrett. That's still Myles Garrett. But Taufefuaga did a wonderful job in that Cleveland. And that was one of my key concerns, how we handle up. We got a winner in this guy, man. Anyway, here's some of the grades from there. Left tackle Taufefuaga, 1st-round draft pick this year. Had his signature game on Sunday against arguably the best pass rusher in the NFL, and Myles Garrett. Garrett was held to just 2 pressures the entire game. I didn't realize he had it. Just 2 pressures. Marking the lowest single game pressures this season, which is still a win. Neither of those came against the sacks. He said neither of those came as sacks either. Fuaga was already having a solid year for a rookie tackle, but his performances are what people are talking about around the league. Yeah, he's doing a wonderful job. Cool. He gave them an A+, an A- for Tali Fuaga. And that's a high mark for me too. Tali Fuaga is fantastic, man. He was a good choice at the left tackle position. He's definitely the future. You got to this guy is going to be really good, man. Really good for the Saints. All right, Kool-Aid McKinstry is the second round pick. He's next up. Kool-Aid was available on Sunday. He worked his way back from a hamstring injury that set him out for a bit. However, he quickly noted that it was no longer an issue for him. McKinstry gave up a little breathing room to Browns receivers. He was targeted 4 times at the nearest defender, only allowing 1 reception for 13 yards on the day, an outstanding performance with big shoes to fill on the outside. Kool-Aid McKinstry dealing with the hamstring issue. His time is now. Kool-Aid's time is now. Marshawn's gone. Paulson Adebo's hurt for the season. Alontae Taylor is there, and it's Kool-Aid McKinstry. We're going to see some of these young guys. It's going to be the rest of the year. Kool-Aid stays healthy, man. He's going to see some real pressurized games, man, against some good wide receivers. So this is going to be good reps for these guys. So Tali and Kool-Aid McKinstry are playmakers, young playmakers that we have a lot of confidence in, man. So we'll see what they look like. And then, of course, Spencer Rattler, the Rattler man there. Says Rattler serves as team emergency quarterback, so it's not too much. I don't think he gave him an incomplete grade, but when Spencer was in there, Spencer did all right. He was a rookie. He did what I expected was a rookie quarterback, and there's a lot of improvement for him, but, the future's bright for this kid. Bub Means is a guy that made a few plays, here or there. When he was in there, he's on the IR. We'll probably get him a little later on, but that's an incomplete grade on him. Jalen Ford, definitely an incomplete grade on him. But there was a couple of times we've seen Jalen Ford do some things for him, the Texas linebacker. Incomplete grade. Christian Boyd had a few series early on in the year, 6'2", 320-something odd pounds. Strength of this guy is his run tackle, his run stuffing ability, but he kind of lost where he was when the Saints traded for John Ridgeway. That's John Ridgeway III. John Ridgeway has taken a lot of Christian Boyd reps. That's the bottom line. Like, I think in the last couple of games, you've seen Christian Boyd as a healthy scratch because John Ridgeway has taken a lot of that, man. He's been stepping in and been playing pretty solidly. So Christian Boyd's been getting healthy scratches. And then Josiah Raheem, who is the 7th round draft pick, guys on the practice squad. Then they move into the undrafted guys like Mason Tipton. Healthy and active the game. He has been surpassed by receivers Kevin Austin Jr. and Dante Pettis. He hadn't been able to utilize his speed in a way because the guy is incredibly fast, but he hadn't been able to utilize his speed. He hadn't made enough football plays, catching the ball and explosive plays to justify keeping him out there. So Coach Rizzi was like, man, let's give Kevin Austin Jr. a chance. And Kevin Austin's a physical wide receiver who has a decent degree of speed. He did his thing. And Dante Pettis is a 6'1", 6'2" guy with really good speed too. And they wanted to see, have bigger targets out there for the quarterback to throw at. So they're just switching it up, trying to see what these young wide receivers can do. And Pettis, man, might have been the answer at the kick return or punt returner duty. We'll see. But Kevin Austin Jr. had some real positive plays, man. Then they mentioned Matt Hayball. We already talked about Matt Hayball, how he been playing, man. I'm very happy for Matt Hayball. He's been doing a hell of a job out there as a punter. Really doing a solid job punting the ball, doing a real solid job. Rico Payton, hadn't seen too much of him since the preseason. Rico Payton kind of relegated to some special teams work. But at first, early on in the year, a lot of people were excited about Rico. He made the team as the 4th cornerback. And, as the 5th cornerback. And, we have sporadically hadn't seen enough of him. Matter of fact, what happened with Rico, he had an injury. He had like a groin, I want to say. Y'all remind me. He had some type of issue where he got hurt right around the same time as Kool-Aid McKinstry. They got hurt. I think he had like a groin issue too. And that kind of stalled them out. Then you had to see them move around some guys. You seen Shamar Jean Charles out there. And then you seen Hugo. When Hugo Ugo Amadi came from the practice squad. He just like, yeah, that's the guy, because Ugo Amadi is a guy that's always around the ball. He's 5'9", but the guy has uncanny ball presence. Like, he's always around it. He's always trying to make plays. Now, he missed several tackles in the game, but he's always in the vicinity where the ball is. He's an exciting character. But to have him out there on your secondary and watch it, man, he's an exciting little dude, man. He got a lot of heart too. All right, then they talk about Dalen Hawker. He hadn't really done a damn thing, to be honest with you. So he's still kind of running around there. Lost. I think they use him a lot in the special teams, all this kind of stuff, but nothing happening on that. So few of these guys, man, we kind of doing pretty good but the top end of the draft class, when you start talking about guys like above means, which is above Spencer Rattler and Kool-Aid McKinstry and Tyler Fuaga, those are starters and they're having impact. So just to talk about that as well. All right, then of course we're gonna hit this final article. Shout out to who's this? Canal Street Chronicle. Shout out to Tina. Big ups to you over there. State of the South, NFC South. During week 3, Carolina Panthers regular season record 3-7. The Carolina Panthers had their bye week in week 11, which might have been for the best without losing. The Panthers could have a real chance at first place in the division. Carolina was 2-0 going into the bye. Think about that. And former number 1 overall pick Bryce Young has been playing better in week 12. The Panthers face a formidable opponent in the Chiefs. Carolina's odds of winning this game are low, but not zero. Right? But Bryce Young, that's what I was saying. Bryce Young is a different player without pressure. It's just the truth. Bryce Young's a different player without talent. I mean, with pressure, without pressure. That's just how it is. They just want you to go out there and have fun, just win a game, this kind of stuff. It's different when you the centerpiece, you're a rookie, and you got all these veterans, and they tell you, hey, now take these veterans that have been in the league and go and lead them to a playoff game or to a what? And you be like, what? I just got here. I've never played in the NFL, and the veterans looking at you. Some guys can't do that, man. Bryce Young was one of them dudes that couldn't do it. But without the pressure, this will be the best thing to happen to Carolina, because now he can learn the game the right way, build his confidence in the season, and not be worrying about all this other kind of stuff in here. You see what I'm saying? So this was actually good for Carolina to kind of go through this. The Falcons, that Falcons, as Brother Jerry calls them, regular season record 6-5 2 weeks ago, and I told Lowe. Oh, back issues. Thank you, Ro. Ro said he was dealing with back issues. Thank you, brother. I told, now y'all put one in the chat if y'all remember this. I told Lowe this when we did the shout out to my brother Lowe. When we did the Saints preview stream. I told him, and I warned them Falcon people. I told them, hey man, listen, don't be surprised if the Saints beat you and then it starts a losing streak and you start questioning who you are as a team. Didn't I tell them that? Put one in the chat if y'all remember me telling them that. Because I say y'all due for an implosion. I told them that. Because, and the reality of it is, listen, fam, if anybody remember anything about what it takes to take a funky perennial loser and turn them into a team of respectability, you cannot ignore the losing history of that team, the collapse crap about the team. You might try to ignore it, but ignoring shit don't fix nothing. It doesn't. Matter of fact, ignoring things only makes it worse. That's not the correct response to doing anything. If there's an issue, no matter how big it is, how scary it is, or how little it is, you have to resolve it. That's how you gain power over the situation. That's how you take care of it. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up, for my responsible people understanding, like even with certain mental issues you have and certain traumas you have, because everybody got stuff that they went through. They got some people here that had rough upbringing, but they were able to rationalize or gain control of these traumas and resolve them, right? Some people say make peace with me, make peace with the traumas, or make peace with what's going on with that. And everybody goes through stuff, right? But we understand that you have to be able to come up with it. And whatever it is, you got to master it. They say make peace with it. Me, I just say conquer it. You conquer it, and you conquer whatever that is, right? That's it. They got, even in this world, and y'all know, if there's certain issues mentally that you don't resolve that are real traumatic, and you just ignore them and you just bury them, they can become a problem later on. They can become another personality in your mind, and it could be problematic. Like, we seeing this stuff all the time that play out. Even when you look at the character from Batman, Two-Face. Two-Face was dealing with repression issues to the point where the repressed personality became its own being. That's real. You got to deal with that. And the reason why I bring up that scenario for the for the damn Pelicans, Freudian slip, but for the Falcons, another bird team, is because they have collapse issues as a family base, as a support base. They're expecting it deep down, even though they might be trying to dance it off on Bourbon Street with Falcon colors and do all the parade stuff. But deep down, when the losing start culminating, what them Falcon people do? Listen to their shows when it started happening, because next thing you know, all that stuff comes running back, right? So it's a thin fence, a very thin, weak, termite eating fence that holds that stuff back. It's not a big, strong barrier. Very weak fence that keeps that back. The only way that can be resolved if it's the coach or the owner addresses it. Let me tell you how the Saints dealt with that. Y'all know, for my diehards out there, when Sean Payton was here, he understood that. He understood, in order to win with a team that had a very ugly history in terms of losing, that he had to overall change the mindset of the support base to make them understand there is a separation or a divider or a delineation between what is old and what is new. Once he did that, once he established that, then he can start building upon a winning culture. But you had to make the people, not just the team, but the people. You have to make the people see it too. That's how that was the genius of Sean Payton. Very underestimated maneuver here that a lot of them miss. I seen it all. I say, man, I know what you're doing, old man. I see what you're doing. But that's what Coach Payton did. And what he did was, whether he believed in it or not, Coach Payton had the voodoo lady. Remember that? Put one in the chat if y'all remember the voodoo lady. The voodoo lady would come in there. She did rituals in the dome. She did it at least 2 times in public. I don't know if, private, for 2 times I've seen. Not only just that, but he also did mock funeral processions. So he did stuff like the voodoo lady, when she would dance around and all this. There's footage about this online. Just Google it. The lady dancing around in the dome doing the ritual in front of everybody. It was a game about to be played. But what I'm saying is that he was able to create a line of demarcation, a border, or whatever you want to call it, that separated the two so that he can create something new. You get what I'm saying? So that those old poison negative thoughts didn't come back to hunt what he was trying to do. The mock funeral processions that Coach Payton did, he had a jazz funeral. There's footage of this online. He had a jazz funeral where he had buried the ghost, the old losing ass ghosts of the past, and he had a mock whole little coffin burying the old dead losing Saints. He did that. Coach Payton was genius on that type of stuff. He was genius on that. And the reason I'm saying that is that kind of stuff is what you need to be able to create a barrier or a delineation between what is winning and what is not, so that those things don't poison because the team thinking about it, because it's in their culture. Now let's see. They took everything from us that they possibly could from winning. They took our potential general manager in Fontenot. They came over here shopping. They came to the Saints show, they stole, and they bought a general manager to run their team. They bought a bunch of players from the Saints to be on their team to help their team winning. But let's see if they bought those things that help separate between winning and losing. Let's see if you got that. Because I seen it, man. I seen it when it all played out. I was like, listen, I told him I wasn't shit talking. I do my little thing, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm very respectful. So I told him, I said, listen, we gonna, don't be surprised if the Saints beat you and start a losing streak. I told Lo that. And Lo said, hey, Q, don't put that bad energy on me. Remember he said that? I said, nah, brother, I'm not throwing bad energy, brother. I'm warning you. And I actually said that. I told him several times, I'm warning you guys. I told the Falcon people that. I'm warning. They didn't listen. They thought I was shit talking. Now you listening? Are you listening? I just tell you, man, listen, you can try to buy, you can shop at the Saints store all you want, but it's only certain things you got to get ordered to win. And you coming from losing, fam. It's a psychological effect. You dealing with human beings here on everything from the team to the coaches on down. You got to have the proper mentality to be able to win in the NFL because it's still will driven. We may think about it's two physical people out there and they're going against, that's a certain aspect of it. But above it all, it's the will of each individual and the collective will of the team that decides how far this team go. And if that other team's will collectively is more imposing and more physical and more dominant, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. It is the overall collective will of a team to want to win. And that's why Coach Rizzi is a passion guy, because he understands, he try to use this overdrawn, passionate energy that he has. Is a lot of it's craziness because the man is, Coach Rizzi is, you can see he's obviously kind of he a couple of cans short of a six pack, but it's good. It's a good crazy, right? There's bad crazy. There's a good crazy. He got good crazy mixed with passion. It's a good little roux that makes a good gumbo. But he's using all of that to electrify the will of the team and make them believe again that we can still win. We are not a 4-7 team. We're better than this. But in the end, about the Falcons, what I'm saying, the losing thing is you got to have a line of demarcation, man. So people can tell the difference between the old and the new. If you don't, then you're gonna repeat the trends of the past. This is commonplace. This is good stuff. It took a lot from us, but they didn't get that part from us. I'm telling you, man. Hey, man, this game, man. But anyway, look at this, man. And speaking of Sean Payton is the one that kicked their ass in this last game right here. They went up to Denver and got the issue, and I was like, man, Sean Payton gonna beat them. I knew it when I did the broadcast. I looked at their schedule. I seen we was up there, and I was like, y'all are just what we need, because the Saints got a passionate interim coach. They're looking for a win. You just what we need. And we would have definitely blown them out if we'd have been on our game a little bit more. Elvin would have caught that touchdown, but it's all good. But I seen on that schedule that Denver was behind them. I seen on that, I was like, man, Sean, we gonna take care of him and watch Sean Payton get him. I was saying, I was like, they about to go on a little streak here. Then they gonna start questioning how good they are. Are we really as good as we thought? We let the Saints beat us. Are we really as good? And we'll see how strong the will of the team is. Can they withstand that? We'll see. 2 weeks ago, the Falcons looked to be the main favorite in the NFC South. The Buccaneers were the only close team, but they were on a losing streak while the Falcons were on the winning streak. Many of the Saints supporters know Atlanta lost to New Orleans in a close game in Week 10. This week, the Falcons were dominated by the Broncos. The final score of the matchup was 38-6. Atlanta was never in this game. Broncos defense set the turn early and helped rookie Bo Nix have a career day. Falcons could not do much against the lockdown Broncos DBs. Cousins ended the game with only 173 yards and an interception. Usually, if Cousins has a down game, the Falcons' rushing attack carries the offense. Against the Broncos, the leading rusher was Atlanta, only had 35 yards. As I mentioned, Bo Nix had a career day and achieved his first 300-yard passing game. The Falcons were horrible in pass defense, and the pass rush did not do much to affect Nix. The Falcons are on a 2-game losing streak going into their bye week and not only have a slight lead in the division. Why I'm bringing all this up, fam, is for one reason only. We talking about the Falcons. Falcons were sitting in the penthouse just 2 weeks ago, feeling themselves, feeling real good about themselves. Just how fast things change in week 2. You could say statistically, you're still sitting at top of the NFC South currently, but and like I said, when I predicted to them before we played them 2 weeks ago, when I said that, hey, we don't be surprised if we beat you and start a streak. The Saints had a 3-point win. What was the score there? It was a close win we had, I forget, but we had a close win over the Falcons 2 weeks ago. This wasn't even close. This signifies something wrong. When you go out there and don't do nothing. And they had a lot of the same people. They had people that none of them, nobody don't do nothing. Very interesting, huh? And then, of course, Tampa Bay, 4-6, the Bucks. Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the other team on the bye in week 11, just like the Panthers. This was probably for the best, being in second place. The Bucks seized the gap between them and first place shrink. The Falcons losing against the Broncos. The Buccaneers need this bye week. They're on a 4-game losing streak, and the injuries on this team continue to pile up. Unlike the Panthers, the Buccaneers face an easy opponent in week 12, the Giants. So they've lost a bunch of games in a row. Don't be looking at the Giants and saying they're an easy opponent, because the Giants made a QB switch. They pulled Daniel Jones down, and they put that other kid in there. What's his name? The Italian kid. I forgot the man's name. Y'all put his name in the chat. But remember this happened, I want to say a couple years ago, that this same quarterback, he's a light Vito. I think his name is Vito. Is DeVito. There you go. Thank you, Slim. Yeah, DeVito. This kid is lightning in a bottle. He's the one where he was doing the thing where he was doing the Italian thing. Well, it's not Italian, I guess, but you see in the mobster movies, you see him do that, this little thing or whatever it was, the little gesture. But this kid's lightning in the bottle, and he's good for sparky wins, and the Giants need a spark offensively speaking. Don't sell him out. Watch out for that, for DeVito. That guy could play football, man. He comes along. The New York support base loves DeVito, and he can play football. The dude really can play football, and he's a spark. So if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm not listening to the wholeheartedly like, oh, we got an easy win against the Giants. They're not playing Daniel Jones. They done bench Daniel Jones. DeVito's in there. Better watch out. And of course, finally, we get to the Saints. Regular season 4-7, the Saints are coming off a massive division win against the Falcons. The morale was extremely high going in week 11. Interim coach Darren Rizzi helped to grow as an NFL head coach and led the Saints to another win. These hopes came true against the Browns, with the score ending at 35-14. Darren Rizzi coached a great game. The team management was really good. The confidence he gave the players and coaching staff was notable, and his special teams magic continued. On offense, Kubiak may have called his best game as a member of the Saints. Derek Carr looked on point. The rushing attack was great. The receiving core stepped up. Taysom was the story of the game, ending with 188 total yards, 3 touchdowns. Another player who stepped up was left tackle Tali Fuaga, faced potential NFL's best edge rusher in Myles Garrett. Throughout the game, Fuaga was put on the island. In this situation, the rookie tackle shut down everything Garrett threw at him. This was the best game of Fuaga's young career. He showed elite potential. The Saints defense had an up and down game. Alante had a bad performance against the Browns, allowing big catch after big catch. This was the main negative with the Saints defense, but besides that, there were a lot of positives. The pass rush put pressure on Jameis, and it seemed like the pocket constantly collapsed almost every pass in the play. I didn't see that. They put some pressure on him every now and again, but Jameis was still able to stand tall and move around in the pocket, in my estimation, from what I watched. The run defense had a good game and came up with a big fourth down stop in the first quarter. That was positive. Rizzi is the interim head coach. Special teams needs to be a strength of the team. And against the Browns, they had a fantastic game. Dante Pettis and Taysom Hill both had big returns. Dustin Hopkins was 0-2 on the field goals, which represents the second week in a row, fam, that we had really craptastic opponent kicking performances. We seen Young Wei Koo was 1 for 4 uncharacteristically against the Saints. And then in the Cleveland game, you've seen Dustin Hopkins, who's usually a pretty solid veteran kicker, had an awful game too. He was totally out. I thought they were going to cut him, but they decided Kevin Stefanski kept him. But at the end of the day, the way I was looking at it was, how often you see that, like solid kickers. That man Hopkins was so bad, I started making light of him in the play-by-play by calling him Dustin Hopkins, the actor. I started calling for Dustin Hopkins, the actor, to come and kick the goddamn ball, because Dustin Hopkins, the NFL kicker, wasn't doing shit. Maybe you can get the real Dustin Hopkins in there to kick for him, because he probably would have kicked it a lot better than what this guy was doing. But in the end, that was really spectacular to see that the Saints had two performances of subpar special teams played by opponents' kickers. They help contribute to wins for the Saints. That's something else. Because if Younghoe Koo handles his business in that Falcons game, you lose. You lose. But it just goes to show you, man, something else is, we benefiting by something spiritually going on, because the second straight week, first week is one time's a coincidence, two times is a pattern. So we had some positive stuff going on that win. All right. So anyway, this was a great win for Rizzy, and going into the bye week, the Saints hope to get even healthier and work towards fighting for first place in the division. And that's basically what it comes down to. So if you see the NFC picture here, and you can see what they're saying: NFC South standings, Falcons, Bucks, Saints, and Panthers. A lot can change here. That's why I kind of went over this article right here to kind of go over it. But a lot can change here. Shout out to Canal Street Chronicles, man. Solid article. But a lot can change here between now and then, right? That's why we still in the game. It's a lot of, let's cover my articles. Let me get our schedule here. Let me put our schedule up on screen, because a lot of this is positive. A lot of this can happen in the Saints' favor. All you have to do is take it one game at a time, one step, one game at a time for the black and gold. It's as simple as that. One game. Let me get the schedule up here, fam. One game at a time. Here we go. There we go. One game at a time, right? And of course, you see the bye week in week 12 right here, obviously, where it's right where we are. But these are the remaining games, right? There you go. That's the remaining games. Rams in the dome. Just doing a little span in the head at the bye week, right? Bye week recap. Looking ahead. Rams coming up on December the 1st. We start December off with some tough contests. We got 6 games in December. Damn. 6 games in December. Damn, that's a lot of games. Sheesh. That's a lot. Usually you have 4 games in a month? How the hell did that work? Yeah, you got 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 5 games. I'm sorry. Yeah, because the Tampa Bay game's next year. So you got 5 games in a month. Okay. So usually we have 4. We got 5 in a month. So we start off against the Rams at home in the Dome. Of course, it was a 3-game situation with the Falcons, Cleveland. So since we came back, we had 2 home games. We're 2-0 since that point. The Rams are actually playing pretty decently, right? Cooper Kupp, I know Puka's doing his thing. Stafford's doing his thing. So we're going to have to lock in for this game. The positive thing is that it's here. We always go out there to LA and we have problems beating these people out there, but we have them in the Dome. So it's going to be a little challenge there, but I think the Saints they can get that. But the key to it, I'm not going to even get into all of the breakdowns on it. We'll talk about that next week when we do the preview for the Rams game. But it's going to be interesting. Our secondary against their offense. That's going to be very, very interesting. So we got that. And then after the Rams matchup, you got the Giants with DeVito there at the quarterback position going to New York in the cold. Depending on what that looks like, whether it be snowy or just cold, that'll be a test for the Saints in terms of, just to get them ready for 2-3 weeks later, they'll have to go to Green Bay. But anyway, they come home for the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. So, we'll be looking out for that one. That's going to be interesting. And then the Saints get a little break there, because after they play that Sunday against the Commanders in a Dome, is a noon game, they'll have a little mini bye as they get ready for not as a mini bye, but they won't play again until that following Monday, not that right after that, but later on the week after that's Monday, December the 23rd, a couple of days before Christmas, we'll have the Green Bay matchup, and it'll be a Monday night matchup on ESPN, and the Saints will have to go to Green Bay in late December, which it's going to be snowy, it's going to be cold, and the Saints will be tested in there. So there's some different terrain, and then ultimately that'll show everything. And while as we're going over there, just understand that with a 7-game losing streak, a lot of your room for error has left. So you don't really have a lot of room for error to kind of lose these games. You got to climb back into it. You got to, dig in. And it's going to be interesting because these are not juggernaut teams, but, you're getting into the area of the season where a lot of these teams are going to be fighting for playoff positioning. So a lot of this is going to count. So the Rams, they're doing better. You go against a giant team that has nothing to lose in New York. You come home for Washington and Jaden Daniels, who's a scrambling quarterback we seem to have problems with. So we can't let him do us like RG3 did us when he was a rookie quarterback. Y'all remember that? And then we go to Green Bay on Monday night. So this will be a live game. The entire nation will watch us play the Green Bay Packers. We have not looked that good against the Packers. And their head coach, Matt LaFleur, has really mopped he's really mopped the floor with the Saints. So Matt LaFleur has mopped the floor with the Saints team. We have not been able to get quality wins against Green Bay with Matt LaFleur there. I don't know what he got, but he has something that makes it difficult for the Saints. And it's not going to be easy. That's going to be a really interesting game, that December 23rd game, 2 days before Christmas. And then you're going up to Green Bay in late December. You better pack your cold gear. Pack your cold gear. It's going to be cold. Then the Saints come home to warm up. They'll play the Raiders, who one of the worst teams in the NFL. We'll play the Raiders on Sunday. We'll get back to business, our noontime game. And then we got Tampa Bay in Tampa. That'll be in the start of the 2025 year. So these are the last 6 games of the NFL season. We've reached the point of the season where we have 6 games remaining. So a great bulk of the season is over with. And now you know where you stand at 4-7. At 4-7, the Saints, I would dare say, can they run the gauntlet? I don't think they run the gauntlet. I'm just going to be honest with you. But then again, a lot of things can change to kind of make the Saints. You feel like the Saints could have some success. We covered early in the broadcast about the fact that the Saints will gain some players back. We talked about them gaining guys back. Perhaps Chris Olave returns. He comes back. And, after his concussion injury list situation, do we gain Tanu Passanio back? Don't forget, Tanu Passanio is supposed to be making his way back, not after the bye week, but you get closer toward the end of the season, like later on in the year, right? And because that was something that the previous coach was saying, that Passanio is not out. Tanu is not out for the entire year. You anticipate him coming back later in the year. And I say that because Passanio would be huge for the Saints. If we can get him back later in the year, that would be big. And a lot of people are not thinking about Tanu Passanio, but he's supposed to come back later in the year. If that is indeed the case, that's a huge pickup for the Saints interior defense, because that guy is a problem. He's 6'7". He's really good at the run, stopping the run. He bat the ball down. The dude is just a solid player for the Saints, and you mix him in the rotation. That can really change a lot of stuff interiorly speaking for the Saints. Just saying. So Chris Olave returning, Tanu Passanio possibly coming back later on. You might get Lucas Patrick back in a few games. You'll get him. Jamal Williams supposed to be coming back. You'll gain Kendre Miller back, because Kendre not really hurt. We know what Dennis Allen did there. So you get some of these guys back, and you hope that you get Olave back, and then you pair Marquez Valdez-Scantling along with Chris Olave, and you get a pretty solid unit. Now, I don't know who your third guy going to be. Maybe you throw Taysom in there. Maybe you throw Pettit. Kevin Austin Jr. right now got the glow right now. But does that change? Mason Tipton ain't gonna take that laying down. He gonna try to fight his way back onto the roster. He gonna try to show up again. So regardless of how it looks, we getting to the money time of the year. We getting down to the nitty gritty, baby. We already about to hit December. It's gonna be a December to remember, baby. Let me tell you something, baby. It's gonna be a December to remember. All right, big ups to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, man, for being in the stream and in the live, man. That's what I got. If y'all got any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. Got a few more minutes before we get on up out of here. And once again, I thank y'all for being in here talking. I know I ain't been on here for a while, man. I've just been busy. Already got 100 plus people voted on the poll, man. 35% of the people says, hey, Q, what grade would I give the Saints overall after the bye? Man, I'm giving them a B. 35% says a B. 28% says a C. Boy, that's kind of close. 15% says an A, and 22% gave them a D or lower. That's very interesting. But the great, well, I ain't gonna say it's a good margin. Not a really great margin, but kind of close. You got 35% with a B and 28% with a C. Damn. 22% with a D or lower. I can understand that, man. It's kind of all over the place because that's just what kind of season we had, but two great things to kind of think about right now. If you're a Saint man or a Saint woman, number one is the Dallas Cowboys absolutely stink. I got to take my shots. They talked all this. Shout out to my brother Obra, who was a Cowboy, man. He told me that the Cowboys was going to win 12 games this year. And when I see him again, I'm going to say, how about them Cowboys? I'm going to just bust one of them on them, when I see the brother around again. But that's actually, that's funny. We 4-7, but we kicked their ass. They said that was y'all Super Bowl where y'all ain't got one. Y'all ain't got one. They falling through the flow. If I had my sound, hold on, let me see if I can find a sound effect for falling through the flow. If you're a Dallas Cowboy person, hold on, let me help you out here. Let me see, falling. Too petty, man. And falling through the flow would sound like something, fam, where you hear something shit breaking, and then you hear like something like somebody falling into some drums, and then you hear that you hear this. Let me hear some shit, man. Let me see if I can find something I can play for with something. I don't know. Hold on, fam. I guess this is the closest I got right here, fam. It's far. I don't know. That's the best I can do. I'm about to find one. I might have to make my own shit. He falling all through. You touching drums and every damn thing falling through the floor. You got the drums and it's like the old Tom and Jerry shit. Like when he falls through the floor and then he falls, it makes all these silly sounds, and then it's a drum set that he falls into. It sounds like a drum set he falls, that type of shit. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe somebody falling down the stairs or some shit. I don't know. That might not be as good as you want here, man. But I don't know, man. It just I'll try. Don't mind me, y'all. All right, but anyway, and then the second thing to talk about, fam, is the fact that the Falcons are losing too. So that's the thing. Like you got to watch out. It's still a full season. The NFC South is still, even though they are winning right now, but when you get beat like that, that's very concerning to me, right? Because you was a close win against the Saints, which you can live with that because depending on whatever the records are, it's always a close fight. That's that's just what the history is. They're going to get up to play, even if you have a team that has 1 or 2 wins. they're going to come to fight because that's the rivalry, right? That's the greatest rivalry in all of pro football, Saints and Falcons. And then the then that Denver Broncos loss by former Saint coach Sean Payton. That's 2 losses to the Saints. And then the way you lost, that was like, boy, that was bad. I told y'all I did. See, I warned y'all ass. I warned you. You got Falcon people in here. Didn't y'all get to and then all that stuff, Low was sweeping up feathers and shit. I told y'all somebody knocked some feathers off y'all ass. And I told you I gave y'all advice. I told you don't listen. When you get the feathers knocked off y'all ass like y'all did, don't use a vacuum to sweep up to get the feathers up, right? Use a broom. And then what you do is, don't take the feathers and throw them in the trash. Take them and glue them and make yourself some feather dusters, right? And then sell them. You ain't gonna get much for them because they're Falcon feathers, right? So nobody really wants that shit. So you're not gonna get. So you might get like a penny or two for a feather duster, but hey, at least you found a way to recycle them. But somebody knocked the feathers off y'all ass. And I told you, I warned you. I was trying to be the cool black and gold guy in the building. I told y'all. I tried to warn y'all. Thought I was shit talking. Oh, somebody batted the feathers off y'all ass. Old Peyton knocked all the feathers. It's just a bass bird driving. You can't even fly. You got the damn bird, no feathers on him. He got pneumonia now. Yeah, it's just all kind of shit going on out there, man. It's just terrible. But I tried to help y'all, man. I tried. Y'all had a lot. Y'all had you had stars in your eyes and all that type of shit. I tried to help y'all. I warned you. I said, listen, I told them. I said, hey, man, I'm warning y'all, man. I tried. They didn't want to listen to me. I said, okay. All right. Okay. You don't want to listen to me. You don't have to listen to me. Now you got feathers every goddamn way. Now you got to clean up. So, it's all right, fam. We still got love for y'all over here. We still at top of the division, Q. Oh, nah, we not done. You're not done yet, fam. You're not done yet. I told y'all, man, y'all could take everything from the Saints. You could take the general manager from the Saints. You could take the players from the Saints. Hell, you could take the janitor from the Saints. But as long as you don't take the mentality that you need to have to win, which is to be able to separate winning and losing in terms of what I talked about earlier in the show, then it ain't going to work. It's not going to work. You could take the name off the damn building. You could do all of that, but at the end of the day, it ain't going to work. I'm just going to tell you, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. Yeah. Laughing like the old dude on the old cartoons. Why I'm picking at Falcon people today? What's going on here, man? It's the bye week. We enjoying ourselves. All right, big ups to you, man. See, look at Red Swarm. Shout out to Red Swarm, man. I seen your comment early in the week, man. Shout out to you, man. Yeah, the week before, because I told Red Swarm, I said, man, Red Swarm. Shout out to Red Swarm, man. They can't be too damn mad because I told their ass. Swarm says, Q, I see Falcons and Bucks finish the season both tennis. Oh, do you now? All right, well, who gonna pick up all them goddamn feathers when the Saints start regaining themselves? Hey, bro, listen. All I can say is, listen. This is where it comes down to, right? When you got these are the remaining games between December 1st and now or 12 on out. Fam, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun. It's going to be fun because right now Tampa Bay have a losing streak going on, and that's where you start really seeing the true colors of whatever your team is. The pressure's on. The pressure's on. The pressure's on. And for you to maintain and stay on top of the division, you got to play through some stuff. You got to show some grit and grind. Right now, you guys want to fire your coordinator right now, the defensive coordinator. You want to fire the guy. So it's a committee approach for the family members to run the defensive coordinator out of town. And somebody said Dennis Allen is available. Go ahead and get him. Go ahead and put him on your damn team. Oh, Dennis Allen is a good defensive coordinator. Go ahead and put him on your team now. That dude works with Peyton only. There's only certain coaches that work with certain coaches. Y'all better learn something, man. See, it's the game behind the game, man. There's a game behind the game, and the game behind the game is the real game. The game out front ain't the real shit. That's like when you look at these politicians and all these people pointing the finger at this guy. You did this, you did that. That guy don't run shit, man. That's a puppet. He put there for you to point fingers at. And then if it's an outrage, they remove him. They just put another one there. Here you go. You don't like him, here go another one. Or you don't like that one, here go another one. That's just what it is. It's a game. That's how this works. It's a game behind the game. They know it. It's the same everywhere. Just remember that. Just like when you see the Pope, that's not even the dude. It's never the guy you see. You don't see the guy. You don't see the guy. You just see their reps. That's how this works. Oh, he did this. He's starting the war. He doing this. He doing that. Guy ain't doing nothing. That's a figurehead. That's a puppet. The decision makers are making the decisions and they saying he did it, and you point at him and blame him. You get enough smoke, they just take him, move him down, put another one there. Been doing this for years, man. It's a game behind the game. And the game behind the game, as far as the Falcons are concerned, man, listen, man, like I told you, until you can delineate between the collapsement that you guys go through and figuring a way to psychologically deal with that and not ignore it, like we ain't gonna collapse. You always do. And I'm not being mean about it either. I'm talking historically speaking, because hey, we came from that. And you know what's even crazier? I seen another team. Y'all tell me if y'all seen this too. There was another team that had bags on their head. Who was the team that had bags on their head? Like the Saints. You remember that back? There was another team that put bags on their heads. Who was that team? Y'all seen it on television. I was like, man, these people got bags on their heads. Who was that? Okay, there you go. The Jets. Thank you, Cap Manning. The Jets had bags on their heads. I was like, when they started doing that? You can be, man, listen, man, you could be a person that's a see, let this be a teaching moment, family, for the Saints. Because we know the Saints trend, we start a lot of trends, man. It's just what it is, right? And as you could be setting good examples, so you could be setting bad examples. Oh my God, man. Come on, man. Oh, the Rams too. No, that's not the Rams. It was them. It was the Jets. Cap Manning got it right. I went right to it and pull it up. Dude got on. He got green tears and shit on there. Same old Jets. I hear you, bro. Look at this dude. Look at this guy here. What's wrong with this guy? All right, Red Swarm says, Q, I see you winning 3 of your final 6 games, finishing 7-10. That's that old Arthur Smith 7-10. And the number 8 pick in the draft. All right, thank you, Cap. Red Swarm. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for that super chat, man. He said that 7-game lose streak did y'all in this shit. Okay. Well, we'll see, brother. There's still a lot of games left to go, my friend. It's still a lot of games left to go. We'll see. We'll see how this works out, man. But I could tell you one thing about passion and energy. That's one thing. Listen, you got and see, this is a good move for the Saints. You got passion and energy, a lot of passion and energy. If anything Darren Rizzi's going to do is he's going to give you an infusion of passion and energy. He's a player's coach. He's allowing all of the other coordinators to do them. Joe Woods is able to maneuver and put who he needs to, in his defense, call what he wants to call. And Joe Woods is a player's coach. He going to get feedback from his guys. That's better than what we seen 2-3 weeks ago. You see how they're responding on special teams. You see how they're starting. The offense needs to kind of improve there, but they're getting healthier. They need some more synergy, and things could change. The Saints are really not, from a player standpoint, like when you look at all the players, the game breakers and the nightmares, the mismatch nightmares we have, they're not a 4-win team. We're a 4-win team because we had a bum, garbage, trash possum on top of the team. Well, that cartoon character is not here anymore. That was the sole reason why you were a bad team. The guy wasn't a coach. He couldn't do anything. He smothered the team. He was off code. They didn't respect him. That's not the case no more. That's a total different energy, and that's what I'm telling y'all. Like, you could just pay attention to it. That means everything. Like, you got a coach. He might not be the smartest or the most strategic coach in the league, but he's a likable coach that is extremely passionate, has a lot of energy. That infuses these guys. Y'all remember the play where he had his arm stuck out like that with Carl Granderson in front of him, and they said something, and then they started. That guy is you play for him. That's the difference between playing for a guy you like a lot and playing for a possum who's you turn around, he stab you in the back. It's a total different energy. So that's what I'm saying. When you're tabulating wins and totals, are you thinking about that? Are you factoring that into the equation as well? You're probably not. You're probably not thinking about that, are you? You're not. I know you're not. When you think about adding the 7 to 10 in there, you're not. You're looking at the team like Dennis Allen is still over the team, and that's where you made your mistake at. You made your mistake 2 weeks ago when you had that same logic, and see, you haven't learned your lesson. You haven't learned your lesson. Listen, I might, be comically and snide in some of my commentary, but I'm quite respectful. And I'll tell you nothing but the truth, because this is what we do here. The reality is, this is you're doing what you did 2 weeks ago, which led to you losing that game, Red Swan. It just, you haven't learned your lesson, brother. And see, the who that's sitting back cool, they know. The who that's the great Saint think tank, they know. They know. It's the difference. That's why I was saying, man, the coach makes the difference. And the team can't win despite the coach, because the coach's mindset, not just mindset, but energy and all of his spiritual essence of what the man is throughout the team. So if you got an off code coach that's up and down, your team will reflect his patterns. You got a high string, energetic coach that's a player's coach. Watch how they play for him. They're going to get up and play for the man. He has won 2 games in a row after losing. You know how difficult it is to win 2 games in a row after losing 7 games in a row? The team has basically, if you lost 7 in a row, you totally lost confidence in the coach. You've quit on the coach. You've mutinied the coach. You're not playing for him anymore. You're not going the extra effort. You're not. And to go from that to winning 2 games, that's not easy to do, unless you're a coach that got a lot of passion. Come on, guys, we're gonna do it. I'm still working on that voice, by the way, fam, because I know my boy was asking me about that. He's like, Q, you got to get your best Darren Rizzi voice. I'm still working on it. I was trying to work on it yesterday, man. I was like, oh, yeah, we got to make sure we get this all going, man. That type of stuff. I'm still trying to I'm working on the hoarseness. See, I'm gonna get it. I just gotta listen at it a little bit longer. I'm gonna get them. I almost had them the other day, man. I'm gonna get them. It's a signature and a code to it. And once I get it, then I got you. I got you. I got you. Because it's a tonation. It's a rhythm to it. And once I get you, it's a code. And once I figure out the code, I got you, baby. I got it. But yeah, man, it is what it is. But yeah, they hadn't learned yet. But like I said, man, the bottom line is that's all you can ask a coach to do. Like if you got a team like the Saints are not a four-win team. This team is actually better than that. They just were underperforming because they didn't like the guy they had at the coach. He was stupid. He was back ass. He was off code, and he smothered the team in the wrong energy. This guy's the exact polar opposite. But people are not factoring that in because that's all this team need was an infusion of energy, positive energy, to make them believe again, and they'll go out there and execute. And eventually they're gaining more players back. They got to keep this going. And look, if you look at the rest of the schedule, they do have some games in there that's going to be challenging, but you do have the people that could be. Elvin Kamara's having a phenomenal year. Eventually you get Chris Olave back. You get Tanu Passanio back. You'll get Kendre Miller back. You'll get Jamal Williams back. You know, you'll get a few more guys back for that playoff push, if there is such a thing. But all you can ask for if you're Darren Rizzi is to show up for work, and you got to play with a lot of energy and play with some will and say, hey, man, listen, one game at a time is the approach. That's all they can do. But do not get it twisted. This is not a team ran with a dead ass energy with a guy that's uncertain. That's not the case anymore. And with that being said, there is a point. There is a point where you can believe that they're stepping in the right direction. One game at a time. They're 4-7. They need what? 3 more games to get back to 500. They need 3 of these 6 to get back to 500. Who knows what might happen here, man? That's why we love the game so much. We got to sit back and wait how it be, and we'll sit here and wait and watch together while the Falcons go to absolute crap. No, I'm just messing. Shout out to you, Big Swarm. Said, Brother Q, the winner of the NFC South will have to go 10-7 at a minimum. Okay, brother, I got you. They have to be 10-7 at a minimum. I don't know. You know, we'll see how it all ends, bro. We'll see how it goes. But you think the Falcons gonna be that, and I'm not mad at you, brother. Just, you know, y'all just collect y'all feathers and see if y'all get some glue to glue it back to yourselves, man, so y'all don't freeze, because it's about to get cold out here. The winter's coming, and you got to make sure you don't let people knock all the feathers off you so you catch pneumonia. You know what I'm saying? Go, you know, just if that happens, make a beeline right to your nearest Burlington coat factory and see if you can pick you up a wool blazer or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Just a little help. But thank you, brother. Appreciate
Thank you. You fuck too kind.
All right, appreciate you, Red Swarm. Shout out to Red Swarm. He was here during the Falcons game, and prior to it, and I said, well, watch what we do. And brother came back in the next week and gave some shout out. So big ups to that brother. He did what he's supposed to do. All right, so anyway, fam, we're gonna get ready to get out on that, man. I appreciate y'all for being in the stream. As always, man, I appreciate y'all. Big ups to you, Cap Manny. Thank you, brother. Rebel Raider, shout out to you as well. Slim, shout out to you. Cartel Boys, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you as well. Big ups to all y'all, man, out here, man. We just be having fun, man. What's up, Debbie? Shout out to Debbie out there. Once again, shout out and appreciate Muse for the Cash App and the rest of the family members for the super chats and all that. What's up, Jack? Shout out to Jack, man. Big ups to y'all. So anyway, fam, listen. What's up, Max? Shout out to Max. But anyway, with that being said, fam, we'll get ready to get out on that. Listen, shout out to our sponsors, man. If you guys want to help out the stream going forward, man, please feel free to check out our very good sponsors. Mint Mobile is, like I always talk about before, man, with the cell phone service. I think our partnership with Mint Mobile is big because what it does do, it gives us an opportunity to kind of cut down and save some money on our cell phone service, man. I have, my phone, my boys on my service as well. So, we have all that. You got to make sure you get a good budget going on. And listen, fam, with all the stuff that's going on right now in the world, man, you got to try to look at your budget and save as much money as you possibly can. So check out the links in the description section below for Mint Mobile, man. See if they can save you some money on your phone bill. Teach Henley, that's the skincare products for the brothers. Get you look tight for your lady. Bet online, man. You know what that is. If you can't make money with the Saints, then make money on the Saints. That's how I look at it, baby, because they do it to you. Win, lose, or draw, they gonna get paid, right? And also big ups to our fantasy leaguers, man. Yeah, I ain't really been talking too much. I've been so busy, man. I forgot. I usually supposed to mention the fantasy league every Wednesday, but I've just been busy doing every damn thing else. So shout out to our fantasy leaguers doing their things over there, man. I was crap. I was garbage, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I lost like 5 games in a row to start the Was it 5? It was like 0-5. Like, man, this is the worst fantasy league year that I ever did. And then I won like 5 in a row. I lost like 5 games. 5 games in a row, and then I won 1, and then I lost 1. No. Yeah. I lost like 5 in a row, fam. 5 in a row, crazy. Then I won 1, lost 1, and then went on a streak. And I think I'm like 1 game underneath 500 or something like that. It's weird. I'm like, okay, all right, and I'm doing some shit. I ain't as bad, because I'm actually pretty decent at it when I pay attention to it. But it's actually pretty good. So shout out to our fantasy leaguers, man. We playing for bragging rights over there. So shout out to you guys for doing it big at the fantasy league, man. Much love to them. But anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna get out on that. I'm more than likely I'm gonna try to pop back Friday, fam. But if not Friday, it might be we definitely gonna do a Sunday stream. Hey, we probably have to pick which game it is we'll be doing for the Sunday chill out. We'll be doing that in our regular spot, man, just chilling out, talking crap and covering all the latest stuff while we watch some other team get their teeth kicked in. Might be the Cowboys. I don't know who playing. Let me check that out right quick. Who playing at our regular time slot there where we can be able to watch them? Let me see. At 12 o'clock, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, Indianapolis. Okay. Tampa Bay and New York, Dallas and Washington. That's probably the game we'll get. We probably get the Dallas and Washington game. We'll probably get that game. Dallas and Washington. We'll see. We'll see what it is. But yeah, that'll probably be the game. Minnesota, Chicago. It won't be Detroit and Indianapolis. And it'll be either probably Tampa and New York or Dallas and Washington. I'm probably saying it'll probably be Dallas and Washington. So yeah, that'd probably be the game we carry on 12. Seeing Jaden Daniels do his thing, man. We'll do an early scouting report and laugh at the Cowboys at the same time, man. What great way to spend your Sunday afternoon watching Jaden Daniels run all over the Dallas Cowboys. That would be absolutely phenomenal, and we will be in the building to watch that, right? Man told me they was going to win 12 games this year. Okay. All right. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to get out on that. I appreciate y'all, man. Much love to the fam. I'll holler at y'all on the next one. Much love. Peace. And who that?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today to get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. So check out the Pro Shop and Who That Too.